make sure you're hydrated. This is Nick Blonde, and we're gonna be doing the production breakdown of my newest single, Missing. Let's start with the guitars. I have 4 takes of guitars, with 2 of them being the same thing. And together, that sounds like this. These are actually recorded a whole step up from what you actually hear on the finished product of the song. I was originally trying to cover produce a song by Hojin called You Feel Like. I feel like it was a tangible song for me to produce. I like the guitar loop. I changed the tempo and tuned it down, and then I added a bunch of my own stuff to it. Yeah, so that's just going out through the whole song. It does have some cuts here. Alright, now on to the synths. So in the chorus we have these layered sparkly synths. I bounced it down to a track because these are really draining on the CPU. And I have this riser going into it. And that's just there in every chorus. It's just adding that extra bit of layer on the top to kind of give it some icing, and a little more atmosphere, adds a little more background texture to the entire song. Now let's move on to the bass. 808s aren't really doing much at all other than acting as a sub. Except for the chorus, it does bounce a little to add a little more drive and feeling towards the chorus. I have this swell right here. And that's the reversed 808, you know, the reverb tail trick. I added a few more ear candy elements. I guess I'll include in the bass part because it's adding to the big thunk, the big bass at the foot of the chorus. I have this sub drop and a reverbed out kick and a sweep. Now let's move on to the drums. Drums aren't doing much in any other part of the song other than the chorus, and it plays the same thing in the second verse. Let's open this folder. Yeah, so I'm just gonna build the drum layers piece by piece. I mean, I don't think I need to explain what's happening here. I'll just keep it quick. Yeah, and so I have 3 elements layered here because this is a point in my producing where I've learned to drag in another sound to fit your mixing needs rather than trying to like take one snare and EQ and compress and modify and add reverb delays. Whatever you're trying to do with that snare, whatever you want to be done with that can be done by just adding another layer of that texture. If you want to have a little more punch, add a punchier snare on top of that. That way you can have the best of both worlds. It's just an easier way of producing, and it also makes your production sound a lot more bigger. It's not supposed to sound like you have a bunch of things going on. The listener does not know how many layers you're putting into the song. They're going to be able to pick out maybe 4 elements, and that's the goal. Like you don't want it to sound like there's a million different snares going on. This is all in one single transient happening right here. I do this with all my kicks now. I'll have the top kick to give it some bite and punch through the heavy mix, and I'll layer it with something subby to also give it that girth. Let's move on to the vocals. I cannot stress how long this recording process took. I was trying some new things because I am not a good singer, and to get a good recording, it takes the planets to line up. So I saw some guy on TikTok use this, and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I would print out my lyrics on a piece of paper like this, and I would add grid lines for each line with like 10 spacings, and I would do 10 takes for each and every single line. Like, I'll be stuck with these fantasies. That would be like 1 take for that phrase, and I'd do that 10 times, and then I'd do the next one. On my whatever comes next, but I didn't end up doing it 10 times. I ended up doing it like 20 for each phrase. It's like a 3.5 minute song. There's hundreds of takes, but it was totally worth it because my vocals sound really good in them, and had I not spent that much time on them, this song wouldn't be so special to me. I feel like I put in a lot of work into this, and you can hear it in my voice. Like everyone that I've shown this to is like, that's you? That doesn't even sound like you. I didn't know you could even sing, and I can't, but you give me 100 tries to make it right, you can do it. Applying this to like a sport or something, I would be terrible at golf. I've never played golf in my life, but if you give me like 400 swings at a hole, it's not too far off. I'm sure I'll make one of them, and that's not to say that I'm a good golfer. I just did it a bunch of times, and then all you get to see is the one hole that I make and record, and I say, oh, like I made a hole in one, or stupid analogy. Anyways, here's the riser, the ghost sweep, a lot of producers like to call. I'll be stuck with these fantasies. The long delay and the long reverb were getting in the way of the vocal performance because it was just the voice and the guitar, and it was very obvious. So I made a separate channel and soaked this guy in reverb and delay to be like the throw at the end of a phrase to fill in this gap here. It's very quiet. It doesn't really need to be loud. Fantasies. It's not too obvious because the vocal itself isn't that wet, so it'd be kind of be weird if it was dry and then super wet. I don't know. You can be creative with that. And then in the pre-chorus, I have some monster vox harmonizing with myself. Trying to find the word. This is just the same vocal take, but with little altar boy. Trying to find the words. And then I have some harmonies going on here, my falsetto, and all of them together. Clearly. And then right here, got a little more going on. Instead of falsetto, I just did a harmony, monster vox, and delay throw. Keep close to me. And on the delay throw, I automized it to be a little louder as it's going to the chorus. Like, get close to me, you know, kind of rising a little, just for that one throw. And then I have another riser. It's me saying recent, and it's just the re part of that vocal reversed with reverb. Here, I can actually show you an example of how I made this riser. That's the same riser, just in the actual form. But I just drowned it in reverb and reversed. That's how you do that. Anyways, here's the chorus. Lots of stacks. You can imagine me taking 25 takes for each one of these and folders, and then comping them and then timing them where my consonants and notes are lined up with each other, so it doesn't sound like off phase. It just sounds like one big vocal. So I started with a lead melody. I've been away, don't think that I'm all okay. And then I dubbed that with 2 more takes. Recently I've been away, don't think that I'm all okay. You can't even tell there's 3 vocal takes going on here. It makes a difference. It makes your vocals sound wide when you pan them like that. And I did the same thing with my falsetto. And then I have the monster vox. Added a vocoder. And then I added a completely reverbed out copy of my lead vocal up there rather than sending it to another bus. By itself, it's so minuscule. And here are the harmonies that I'm sure none of you who've actually heard the song would have known they're even here. Every day I slip away, more stress and anxiety. So this is the entire thing together. Every day I slip away, more stress and anxiety. Feelings of variety. Baby, won't you stay with me? Yeah, that's basically it. It's a really simple song. Wasn't simple to mix though, but besides the feature, I have my friend Caleb, or should I say Kalu, on the track. Here's vocals. I'll preview them for you. I'm stuck on overthinking white dress. You wear it in my fantasy. I really like what he did here with the backing vocals. I think his vocal performance was outstanding. And I've kind of learned that pitch doesn't really mean everything because you can press a button or you have plugins to fix them. But for a good vocal performance, you gotta know what you're doing. And I mean, here's the dry vocal takes. I don't have my own dry vocal takes because those are long gone deleted to save room for this project. But I threw this verse in there as the last thing of this project, so I still have them right here. Stuck on overthinking white dress. You wear it in my fantasy. Those are pretty good. Whenever you deliver a solid vocal performance like that, when mixing is combined, is just chef's kiss. I'm stuck on overthinking white dress. You wear it in my face. That is it, ladies and gents. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I'm gonna be dropping more music and more production breakdowns and whatever else you guys would want to see on the channel. Comment down below and I'll see you in the next video. This is Nick Blonde. This is Missing. Go stream it. Got the links down below. Check me out on Spotify or Apple Music.